Hi, I'm Richard, your moderator. This is going to be a very special Sunday at
Hello,
Bloom.
Bloomers and friends. This is Rev Kev coming to you. Hey there, Bloomers and friends. It's Rev Kev coming to you from the quote-unquote parsonage. Hey there, Bloomers and friends. It's Rev Kev and friends. Rev Kev and Jason coming to you from Bloom's
Hey there,
new
Bloomers and
office
friends.
Rev Kev coming to you from Palm Springs. Hey there, Bloomers and friends. Rev Kev coming to you during Holy Week. Hey there, Bloomers and friends. It's Rev Kev coming to you from in front of that Palm Springs City Council chamber. Hey there, Bloomers and friends. It's Rev Kev and Jim Nixon. Hello there, Bloomers and friends. Rev Kev coming to you from...
Hey there, Bloomers and friends.
Hey there, Bloomers and friends. Rev Kev coming to you from the Village Hey there, Bloomers and friends. Rev Kev coming to you from the Bloom office. Wow, it sure is dark outside. Where it's relatively early in the afternoon and we feel like it's midnight around here. That's simply because, as folks know, in Palm Springs, if you're closer to the mountains, the sun goes down sooner than if you're further east in the valley. And it just happens to be that the days are getting shorter and shorter because we're in the northern hemisphere, and that's what happens around here around this time of year. A little bit later in December, we'll have the longest night, and then it will start getting lighter as time goes along, and pretty soon we'll notice that it's getting lighter earlier in the morning and staying lighter later in the day. This whole thing about the darkness coming over the earth at this time of year is what has influenced so much of our lore about Christmas time. This whole business about light coming into darkness, about the fact that, and after the time passes, the light starts to come again into the world. So therefore, in the ancient times, they decided Jesus was the light of the world, and, they set the Christmas holiday and all of that kind of thing going on. In reality, what was going on is they were picking up the traditions of the pagans who worshiped the sun god, and in the northern hemisphere the sun god seemed to get less and less powerful for the day until a certain time of year, and then it started getting more and more powerful, and they celebrated that solstice. It was a Christian movement that overtook that to try to convert the pagans to Christianity by saying Jesus is more powerful than that sun, and basically did some cultural appropriation or some kidnapping of the other god and replacing their god with our god. That's the way they did it back then. We now basically continue that process by simply knowing that we have all of our traditions that have developed over the years and continue to have us bear forth that story that Christ the light is, coming into the darkness and dispelling it. The funny thing about that, though, is that is very, very northern hemisphere centric, because the exact opposite thing is happening in the southern hemisphere. So what's really funny about that is that if we're going to have a global Jesus, a global Christmas, a global understanding of what's going on, sometimes maybe we have to remember to modify our thinking about what's going on in the season. And in reality, it is more about the concept of justice and freedom that's coming into the world with the advent of the Christ than about light coming into darkness. Maybe that's a little bit too much to think about this time of year, but I'm trying to just offer that when we think about our images for Christmas, for Advent, for Epiphany, that we begin to realize that this is a global experience, that it is something that we want to have empathy for everyone around the world. We want to identify with them. So therefore, let's not assume that our traditions and our images are the very same for everyone around the world. Some of you who are on Facebook know that I posted a series of photographs that one of my Facebook friends, Taylor Gould, had posted, which showed the Madonna and Child, or the Holy Family, in a bunch of different configurations. very, very unusual in some cases. And the point that I made was this is so important. And again, it was just so important that we don't take our individual or our cultural understandings of the way that the Christ story works and apply it to absolutely everybody. And maybe it's good for us at times to assume, not take control of, but to understand that there are many other different images, many other symbols that are happening. And as we open ourselves to those symbols, we open ourselves to more of the world. And in my way of thinking about the Christian faith, that opening of ourselves to more of the world is a good thing. So this Sunday is the second Sunday of Advent. The emphasis or the theme is peace. And that emphasis for peace is for peace for the world. The story that we have is the angels came to the shepherds and said, "Glory be to God in the highest, and on earth peace and goodwill for all people with whom God is in favor." So let us realize that the peace that we talk about is for everyone. It's not just for us. And when we realize that, we know that we're not losing anything, we're gaining the perspective of the world. I hope you can be with us this Sunday in worship. If you can't be with us in body, please be with us in spirit. And as always, please keep us in your prayers.
Congratulations on number 500.
Happy 500.
It's a great pleasure to wish Bloom in the Desert Ministries and Russ Bertlow the 500th Bloom Tube.
I want to wish the church a happy 500.
Happy 500.
Happy 500th.
Happy 500, Rustin. Happy 500.
500 to Bloom.
Happy 500, Bloom. Thank you,
Just
Russ.
a second. Hello, happy 500.
Happy 500 Bloom!
Happy 500th Bloom Tube.
Okay. Happy 500th.
Bless the peace and the chill